Have you ever forgotten something? Like maybe you walked into a room and forgot why you were there, or you went to a birthday party with a friend, but you can't remember that person that your friend introduced you to. Have you ever tried to remember a face by heart? Now, for me personally, I can't for the life of me. When I try to remember someone's face, details mush together and it looks like an abomination. But today we're talking about what it feels like to lose your memory, to barely remember anything, and what you do remember becomes so real that you can't separate memory from reality. On Netflix, there is a show called bojack Horseman. It surrounds the escapades of one named bojack Horseman. Who would have guessed? But today we're focusing on one specific episode. Season 4, Episode 11 of bojack Horseman, Time's Arrow, as it's called, features Bojack's mother, Beatrice, and Beatrice is a dementia-ridden old lady, forgetting everything except for early memories from the moment that she was born all the way up until Bojack had started a show and moved to LA. In this episode, we follow Beatrice as she traverses through her memories, going from being a little girl on a playground getting bullied by some of the other girls, to remembering her mother's lobotomy, to burning all of her toys because she was sick, to having a party so she can get married off, to leaving that party with the soon-to-be father of Bojack, Butterscotch Horseman, what a stupid name, to her having Bojack as a kid, and then to her eventually remembering where she is at that exact moment. Now, I don't want to focus on the story of the show or even this episode as much as I want to focus on the representation of losing your memory. There are a few different types of characters in this episode. I'm going to call them main characters that have all facial features. There's scratchy face characters, which are characters with a scratchy face. There are no face characters, which are characters with no face. And then there are mouth characters with no face, but they have a mouth. There might be more that I'm forgetting. I'm not sure, but if I forgot, that would be fitting consisting of today's episode. Now let's go over why characters are chosen to be this way. Now, the most obvious one, to me at least, is the main characters, the characters with their full facial expression. That's because they are a driving point in Beatrice's life. For example, her father and mother, though her mother's face is not seen much, both have full features. You can see their nose, you can see their eyes, you can see their mouth, you can see everything about them. And that's because if you were to lose your mind, the people you would remember the most are the people you spend the most time with, and one person, or I guess a couple of people you'd spend the most time with are your parents. You would remember them the most. Another character that shares this trait is Beatrice's former husband and her son, which is ironic considering she can't remember her son throughout the entire show. But there are other characters that share this as well. One of them is her bully's main leader. I forgot her name. I'm going to call her Gooseneck. Gooseneck probably has this kind of animation style because Gooseneck forced her, in a sense, to become something better. She wanted to be better than Gooseneck because Gooseneck was a bitch. I'm gonna lay it flat out for you. Gooseneck was a fucking bitch. If I'm climbing up on a ladder and you kick me off that slide, I swear to God, I'll kick you in your non-existent tech. I will kick you in your cloaca. The second easiest character to identify are the no-face characters. These are just background characters. For example, let's say you have a memory of you walking through the mall. Can you remember the face of the people you were walking by? No, of course not. If you could, you'd probably be insane. This is basically what happened with Beatrice. There's people at her party that she didn't know, she never talked to, she didn't remember. So they never got facial recognition. Then she never remembered their face. She never had a reason to, and so she didn't. It's that simple. It's cut and dry. Easy as that. The next kind of character is also really easy. It is I forgot what I called it, the mouth face character. The characters that don't have a face but have a mouth. I could be wrong when I say this, but only one character has a mouth and no other facial features. And the only reason that he has a mouth is to give an announcement and a commentary on Beatrice's performance during her party. And the only reason he's given a mouth is simply to show that she remembers the performance that she was giving, and it would be weird to have a non-mouthed creature talking. Even in a show where talking animals are just common. And yet so is eating meat. I never thought about that until now, and now I'm kind of fucked up. The last character I want to cover is a scratchy face character. And a scratchy face character in specific, her name is Henrietta. She is remembered by Beatrice, but she doesn't want to remember her. The reason why is because Henrietta was the housemaid, cooking, cleaning, caring for Bojack, the kid at the time. Oh, and every so often, casually sleeping with your boss. She slept with Beatrice's husband, and that caused her to get pregnant. And so Beatrice does not want to remember her, not only because she's a reminder of, her husband's infidelity, but also simply because Beatrice is reminded of herself with her. When she looks at Henrietta, she sees herself as just a young kid that was seduced by a stupid man and now has a kid to deal with. Only this time the kid is set up for adoption and she goes off to medical school. So, who needs kids anyways? I love you, Dad. I know you're watching this. But she can't forget Henrietta. And the reason why she can't forget Henrietta is because of all that traumatic stuff that not only Henrietta went through, but indirectly caused Beatrice to go through. It's a tragic thing whenever your spouse cheats on you. Even if you don't care about your spouse like Beatrice doesn't care about her husband, it's still very upsetting. Now, the next thing I want to go over is not the characters, but rather the visuals. There are numerous unsettling visuals in this episode, such as burning dolls, live birth. That's kind of a big one, but that's not unsettling for the reason it's supposed to be. That's unsettling because I'm a teenager and I don't want to see someone... sometimes you have a thought, like a sentence so gross you decide not to say it, and that's what just came across my head. And I'm going to force you to wonder what that was. Anyways, there's also one of my favorites is the lobotomy. Now, Beatrice's mom had a lobotomy because she was depressed. And, back in ye olden times, you're a little sad, we snip out a part of your brain. And there's a scar wound on her head where the lobotomy had been taken place. And Beatrice sees that scar all the time and is, no pun intended, scarred herself because she doesn't want to end up like dear old mom, as in half alive and extremely brain dead. Another visual they use is kind of, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it a glitch effect, where sometimes words will look normal and then they will shift into different letters, making them incomprehensible, not real words. Sometimes a character will mention something like having a hat in their hand, and they'll go from standing there to having a hat in their hand with a little glitch effect. It shows the fact that some memories are still there, they're just less memorable. Like, the specific example of me using the hat in the hand was not an accident, that was an actual scene. Butterscotch comes in with hat in hand, only Beatrice does not remember that until he mentions hat in hand, causing him to glitch out and have a hat in his hand. And last but not least, what does it mean? I'm not fucking sure. No, I just want to talk about this honestly because I thought it was really cool artistically. I could be talking out my ass this whole episode. I might think I know what the creators were thinking, but I have no fucking clue. I thought it was really cool artistically, and if it lines up with what I personally think, that's amazing, and I'm proud of myself for being #GameTheory. Why did I throw in the hashtag there? That's fucking gay. But I love it. I love that episode. It's like, if you've ever watched Skinamarink, it's a feature-length film, I think, of basically analog horror, and it shows it shows it. Now, Skinamarink is either known as amazing or horrible, depending on the kind of person you are. And I'm the kind of person to call it absolute dog shit. Because it's just, you can't make analog horror into that long of a span, unless it's a compilation of different analog horrors. But the way this episode was handled, the way Time Zero was handled, was almost like analog horror. Not exactly. There's elements of analog horror in the film, and it works well together, which is what I think should have been attempted for something like Skinamarink, but unfortunately was not. Now, that's just my personal opinion. If you like Skinamarink, you can, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'm really enjoying these videos. I don't know why. I hope you enjoyed the intro too. It didn't take long to make, but it was still fun. And subscribe if you're still here. That'd be amazing. And if you do, I will give you not a lobotomy, but I will give you a lobotomy. Have a good one. Peace.